The next thing I want to add to my notebook is another review activity for true-false statements. So I go back to my Pages tab, click my Add New Page button from the toolbar, and the first thing I want to do for this particular page is add a title. So I'm going to click my Text button, begin typing. This review is about triangles. So I'm going to call it Triangles, and I'm going to go ahead and apply the same settings I did on my title page, making it 36-point font, red, and centered. I go back and choose my mouse tool so that I can move my title up higher on the page, get exactly where I want it. And now I need to type my true-false sentences. So I click my text tool and begin typing with number 1. So I do number 1. And I do need to use the superscript to get the degree sign in here. So I select my small 0 and choose my superscript from my font toolbar. So question number 1, now I want to do question number 2. And again, apply my superscript. Then I've already pre-typed in the next several questions so that you don't have to sit here and watch me type. Now I'm going to go ahead and arrange them on the page so that they're kind of equally spaced. So of course I need to choose my mouse tool, which I didn't do, and line them up with a good amount of spacing between them. And once I'm happy with that, I need to move on to the next step, which is adding my check and my X shape so that the student can then indicate whether the statement is correct or incorrect. So from my toolbar, I choose the Shapes button, and I'm going to choose the check mark first, and at the bottom I'm just going to go down here, draw a check mark about the size that I think it'll fit nicely in front of the questions. I go back and also add an X, approximately the same size. Now from here we're ready to add the infinite cloner so that the student can complete the activity, but first I would really like to make my check mark green and my red, or my X red. So I'm going to choose the mouse tool, select my check mark. Now I'm going to go to the Properties tab, which has the little color palette and the A, and I want the fill of my check mark to be green. It's not green enough for me, so I also want to go ahead and make the outline style green so that the whole check mark is green. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the X, except I want it to be red. So I choose my X first, make sure I'm on my Properties tab, and make my Fill Effects red, which makes the inside of the X red, and then choose the line style, making that red. So now I'm happy with my check and my X. So I'm going to use my drop-down menu on the X and choose Infinite Cloner. You know the infinite cloner has been applied because when you click on it, instead of getting the drop-down menu, you get the little box with the infinity symbol. I want to apply that same setting to my check mark. So now both my check and my X are infinitely cloned. So this page is essentially ready for the students. The students would come, read the first question. So a right triangle always has a 45-degree angle. I'm fairly certain that's false, so I'm just going to click and drag an X. And you notice it automatically makes a copy of the statement. Not the statement, excuse me, of the X icon. An acute angle is less than 45 degrees. I don't think that's right either, so I'm going to put an X on that one. An isosceles triangle has 2 sides of equal length. I think that is correct, so I'm going to pull my check mark up there. An equilateral triangle has 3 sides of equal length. I don't think that's right. So since I'm reviewing for my test, I'm just doing what I think is correct. And the angles of a triangle added together equal 360. Well, we know that's 180, but for the purposes of this, we're going to say that we think that's correct. So now would be a perfect time for you to go back with your students after they've selected their answers and review whether they got the answer correct, incorrect, what they need to do in order to help them study and be prepared for the assessment.